meeting to order at 10:21. We're going to call it a little earlier. And I would request that someone make a motion that we go to executive session regarding personnel issue in North Country Community College, and that within the executive session we also will have Ann McDonald and Gerald Blair, who are Essex County's representatives for North Country Community College. So I would entertain that motion, moved by Mr. Politi, second by Mr. Preston. Discussion. Being none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. There was no action taken in the executive session, so I'll entertain a motion to go back into regular session, moved by Mr. Politi, second by Mr. Preston. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. We'll go to our agenda now. We'll start with our county clerk, Joe Blancha. See? Excused. Joe's been excused. Brenda Sullivan. Yeah, they may not know that. Judy, I don't even have an order. I don't want to wait for it. Session, second by Mr. President.
Thank you.
Well, I know one guy that is here, so I'm going to go to him. County Manager.
Okay, I do have a list of things that we do need to do. We had the resolution. Charlie Lewis is on vacation. I'm not sure she's on vacation, but she did have a resolution authorizing the purchase of GIS parcel viewer from Fountains Spatial in the amount of $10,000 with funds to come from the contingency account. Charlie, we did not originally budget this within her budget. It is something that she feels is important. It is something used by virtually every town and every assessor and every person within there. So I did, at this point, recommend that she come to you and ask for it to be taken from the contingency account. I believe she talked to most all of you in regards to it, so I am looking for a resolution to authorize that. We did go to bid, and Fountain Spatial was the low bidder in this.
Moved by Mr. Mayor, second by Mr. Politi. Discussion. Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
I also have a resolution for, these are budget amendment requests. These are for the FEMA buyout properties and the Irene FEMA accounts. These are just balancing those accounts. It's not spending any more money. It's not changing anything. It's simply that as Linda was going through the budget, she recognized that these capital projects need resolutions to amend them to account for the additional revenue that's come in since we started the projects. Under the capital project 13-1, this was the property buyout. We need a resolution to amend the expenditures from $2,678,000 to $4,421,154 in increased revenues in the same amount.
Moved by Mr. Moore. Second. Oral discussion. All in favor? All carried.
The other one was the Irene Fund. We also need a resolution authorizing the increase of the expenditures in that account from $2,200,000 $3,266,000 to $3,131,584, and increased revenues to match that as well, and that's capital project 11-7.
Moved by Mr. Moore, second by Mr. Gill, by Mr. Grinnell. Discussion. Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
The other request that we have, we went out to bid in, this is for our indirect cost recovery service. This is auditing for those indirect cost recoveries. We are required to do those. The recommended award is to Vineski and Company at a cost of $9,500. What that does is just, they go in and look at every department's expenditure and pick out which things that are billed through one department that can be billed against another department, which then we get state reimbursement for. So in other words, an example is IT services, money is spent in IT. We have IT people that do work for DSS. We cover that, we do an audit and pick out that amount, and then we get reimbursement from DSS.
Moved by Mr. Khalid, second. Grinnell. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Another resolution that we're required to do is for Gatsby 45. Did I have that one in there, or did you?
It's in here. I need a copy. Do you need a copy?
I just don't have it in front of me. I can't find it. We are required to have a audit of our actuarial post-employment benefit services, and we need to hire a firm to do what's called Gatsby 45, and that's for post-employment benefits. And the amount of that is $3,749 to be awarded to Jefferson Solutions, which was the low bidder in this case. This is a new one from the one we had previously. This is a lower cost than what the previous one was, but we are asking for a resolution to authorize award to Jefferson Solutions for our Gatsby 45 post-employment audit.
Moved by Mr. Marion, second by Mr. Grinnell. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed?
Think that's it? Oh yeah, that's yours. Tom wants a resolution changing the time of the November Ways and Means Committee meeting to 6 p.m. and scheduling the public hearing on the tentative 2016 Essex County budget for the same day at 7 p.m. You need a resolution to do this because our rules call for the meeting to be following the regular Ways and Means, which is at 10 a.m. So,
By Mr. Grinnell, second Mr. Khalid. Discussion. Being none, all in favor? Opposed?
that's it for me.
Okay, we will go over Auditor Brenda. Let me see you here.
Oh, that's right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My report was emailed to the committee. Are there any questions on my report?
Any questions for the auditor? None? Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan has two more resolutions.
These are the ones from,
What's public health?
right, from Public Health. This is another one of those COLA adjustments that we did last week. There were two additional ones. This is a COLA adjustment in the amount of $1,345 in the grant for children with special health care needs. That's the only one, right, Joe?
That was the only one.
Yeah.
Public health, yes.
This one, Public Health.
Lady, second. Now, discussion. Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
The public health part, we put it in stock.
Oh, yes. I had a lot of them today. The Franklin, Essex, Clinton Essex Franklin Library System has submitted the name of Scott McDonald, our former probation director, to sit on their board of trustees, and they're asking for a resolution from us appointing him to that term, which would be from December 31st, 2000. Mr. McDonald's term would end December 31st, 2018.
Moved by Mr. Cannon. Second. Yellow.
I think that's my...
Mr. Diskett, County Treasurer.
First of all, I wasn't sure I was supposed to be here today because the chairman of the Finance Committee fired me the other day in an email, but I'm not sure. I showed up anyways.
Need to hit you on the common core.
So I did send you a revision. What had happened when I sent out that first one is when we calculate sales tax for our budget, for those that have been here quite a while, and some of you that now know about it recall, we don't count the first 2 months, January and February. That was done away with a number of years ago, and now we count March through February. And when I did that, and I took the total, and then instead of subtracting out January and February, I added it in again. So we got too high a number, but the actual number that it looks like now is about $492,550 that we're behind, which is about 2.5%. That's a little better than what I originally sent to you. Actually, the third quarter was pretty good for the county. We recovered pretty well in the third quarter. Most of our losses were in the first quarter and part of the second one. The third quarter, we were only down about $200,000. I mean, in total for the 3 quarters. But I mean, the third quarter alone, we only were down about $29,000 for the entire quarter. So most of that loss has been in the first 2 quarters of the year. The third quarter's recovered. Hopefully the fourth quarter will continue to recover some of it and won't be quite as bad. Is there any question on sales tax? If not, I'll move on to the occupancy. Okay. Occupancy is doing well, and what that means, I think what that says is tourism's still doing well, and we're not losing money in sales tax and tourism. I think it's in other areas. And I know that, I think it was Mr. Marnell that asked me last month about motor fuels and how much we get for sales tax. So I did some research on it, and I contacted NISAC, and they sent me a list that they had done that shows that over the last 7 or 8 years, we've averaged about 10% of our sales tax in motor fuels, so that's how much we're getting in that's accounted for in motor fuels. It's about 10% of our sales tax. And that's average for the state. Some counties are a little higher, some are less, but the average around the state is around 10%. So the occupancy is running just slightly ahead of last year. We're actually just about even in a sense with what we had for last year. Going into next year, I would like to ask Mr. Maryhill if you'd contact your committee and get together. We have some questions before we go into next year and some issues to take over for the vacation rentals. And I'm working on a new form, and I'd like the committee to see that. And I think it's a much cleaner, neater form. It's not as confusing, and there's a lot less to do and be a lot more user-friendly, but I want to share with the committee and make sure they're okay. And we've had a number of other inquiries that I just want to review with the committee and get their intake on it. I just don't want to be making all those decisions myself and find out that's not what you really wanted. So if you don't have any question on occupancy, I've sent my year-to-date expenses for the department and also for the cash flow. If you have any questions on that. And other than that, our auction is Wednesday at 11 o'clock at the Best Western in Ticonderoga. Registration starts at 9, I believe. We're going to have a bidder seminar here in this room tonight starting at 6 o'clock with a pre-registration for anybody who wants to register early, so they don't have to stand in line on Wednesday. And then at 7 o'clock, we'll go through the procedures for the auction, how it works, and answer any questions for anybody that's here, so that they can get ahead of it. Tomorrow, there are, I believe, about 9 properties that are going to be shown, that are unoccupied houses or homes throughout the county. I know they're listed on the Haroff website, the parcels that are going to be shown. They start, I think, in Spoon Lake, and then they go to Minerva, and they just work their way around and end up in Saranac Lake later in the day. I think, what's that?
I said, bless you.
I knew you weren't talking to me. And other than that, the auction will be Wednesday, and you're welcome to come. Yeah.
I have one question that
Yes.
I've been asked. I was asked actually over the weekend. I couldn't answer it. Maybe you can't answer it, but why is the Frontier Town in the auction?
I can answer that.
Good.
You're right.
Thank you. Glad you can.
No, I said I can't answer it.
Can't answer.
No, I think we need to get together with the county attorney and the board and decide where we're going with that property. I haven't any directions to put it in the issue to put it in. I think we still need to resolve the issue of where this county's going, what they want to do with that property.
So there's no legal reason why it's not in there, I guess.
I don't believe so, but that's something Mr. Manning would have to address. As far as I know, that court case has been resolved. And,
Any questions for Mike? If not, thank you. Anything further to come before this committee?